Hello. If you're watching this, then you're most likely a startup founder or an investor into a startup that is applying for a slot in the SBC Afrotech Accelerator Program. Each year, we receive more than 2,000 applications, and there are only 10 spots, making this one of the most prestigious and selective accelerator programs on the African continent. We are in a unique position to only select the best startups, and we have the great honor of working with some of the most impressive founders on the continent. As a top-tier founder, you are naturally asking yourself questions like, why would I give up 8% equity? What guarantees do I have that SBC will be worth it? How can I sell this to my other investors? Is this negotiable? Investors will additionally ask questions like, why is this valuation lower than when I invested? Or what is the impact on my equity stake? Or even, what happens if I invested in a safe? The purpose of this video is to provide simple, clear, and transparent answers to your questions so that you and your co-founders and possibly any early investors can make a fully informed decision that you are entirely comfortable with. This is a pivotal moment in the future of your company, and we are happy to provide all the data you need to ensure that you make the best decision possible for you, your co-founders, your investors, and the future of your company. We know that this program is not right for everyone. And if that's the case, then we do not want to waste your time or ours in trying to force a square peg into a round hole. So what is the SBC deal? The SBC offer is broken down into 4 main components. First, a 3-month accelerator program where our world-class team will help you validate and refine your USP. In addition to our SBC team, we also provide 5 full-time entrepreneurs in residence who are dedicated to augment your team throughout the program. These are specialists in finance, tech, marketing, growth hacking, UI UX, and pitching. They are trained in the Lean Startup methodology, and they will help you run experiments, pilots, and proof of concept projects with the partners and clients that we will help you identify. Most of our startups have performed critical pivots during the accelerator that fueled dramatic growth opportunities during and after the accelerator program completed. Number 2, commercial contracts with our program partners and an extensive network of corporate contacts. During the 3-month accelerator, we will help open doors and close deals that generate revenue and validate your solution. We help our startups to land important deals with major corporate and government customers and channel partners that springboard their growth. Number 3, credits and discounts from partners including AWS, Google, Microsoft, HubSpot, FirstBase, and more than 200 critical service providers to help every aspect of your business: legal, accounting, offshore incorporation, tech, etc., etc., etc. This totals more than $750,000 in value and includes direct cash equivalents such as $100,000 in AWS credits, $100,000 in Google credits, and many others. In addition, AWS has its headquarters in Cape Town, and they provide top engineers who hold weekly office hours with our 10 founders to personally assist you in scaling your tech to an enterprise-grade solution. This will help you to land deals with corporate partners that would otherwise be out of reach. Finally, we provide $18,000 in cash to each startup. These funds are intended to offset any expenses that you might incur, such as travel, housing, experiments, etc., during the 3 months of the accelerator program. In exchange for all of this, we take an 8% equity stake in each startup. This is not based on valuation, it's a standard program participation amount. Every startup gets exactly the same offer, and this is explicitly not a valuation exercise for the startups or for any other investors. Since 2017, 50 African startups have completed our program, and the track record thus far is stellar. 45 startups are still operating and scaling, which gives us a success rate of 90%. Of these 45, 42%, which is 21 of the startups, are scaling on the basis of commercial contracts and revenue streams that were developed or boosted through our program and support. By extending your runway through revenue, you validate your model and you are in a much stronger position to raise capital at a higher valuation and on more favorable terms. When you do choose to raise capital, SBC alumni have a tremendous advantage because investors care about track record. To date, 50% of our startups, 25 in total, have closed full rounds. And collectively, they have raised more than $110 million in follow-on funding. On average, the increase in valuation from when they started the accelerator is well beyond 10x. In short, SBC alumni have a significant unfair advantage. Participation in our program results in faster growth with less dilution for founders and for early investors. This means that even after factoring in the 8% for SBC, that the founders and any other early investors will have more equity after your next round than you would have had if you had simply gone out and raised at your current valuation. Naturally, this is not a guarantee, but our track record over the last 5 years is irrefutable. So how is this possible? It's actually quite simple. Startups in our program typically achieve 18 to 24 months of growth, compressed into just 3 months. This translates into significant ramp up in revenue. This also means that your first round of funding will likely be at a valuation that is materially higher than you would have raised at otherwise. To give you some context, let me explain a little bit more about the SBC model. We don't make money running programs. Our upside is based entirely on founder exits. The equity that we take in each of your companies is common shares or founder shares. So we sit at exactly the same priority as the founders. These are not pref shares. All of the investors that come after will likely take pref shares, which means that they have to get paid back in full before the founders or anybody at our tier has an opportunity to exit. What this means is that on average, it takes 4 to 5 years before the founders, and therefore SBC, has an opportunity to exit. All of the things that you would expect and you will receive during the program will continue long after the 3-month accelerator is done. So we will be by your side as an advisor, partner, and candidly, almost a co-founder for many years after your demo day. So in order for this to make sense, you're basically betting that the increase in valuation is at least 1.66x over what you would have had if you didn't participate in the program. So let's talk through some numbers. So let's take your base case scenario that you're going out to raise capital and that the existing investors and the founders, just for simplicity, we're going to group all previous angel investors or anybody that might have already put money in and the founders, we're going to put them on one line item. And the new investors that are coming in for the next round are going to take 20% equity. So that leaves all of the prior shareholders with an 80% stake of the company. Now, that's the base case. So to see if SBC program makes sense, we need a new scenario in which you take our 8% for SBC means that the new investors coming in must receive 12% or less. So simple math tells us that an increase in valuation required to get from your base case to the SBC scenario is a 1.66x multiplier in terms of your valuation. What that means is that if we now go and say, here's a 3x multiplier or a 4x multiplier, that the impact is further dilution for the new investors that are coming in. SBC, of course, stays the same, and the founders and angel investors have a greater than 80% equity stake, which means they're better off than if you had not participated in the program at all. When you consider all of the factors, when you consider all the value that SBC can add in, which is the $750,000 worth of credits, the high-level participation from AWS engineers, Google engineers, etc., the corporate partnerships and access to commercial contracts that are going to add revenue, extend your runway, the mentor network, the track record, the access to our investors, all of that. Can we increase the valuation of your business by 1.66% or more? And if the answer to that is yes, then this decision becomes a no-brainer. SBC is a global network of accelerator programs. Starting in 2010, we've run programs in 19 cities on 6 continents. We have more than 1,100 alumni companies, 76% of which are still active, and a further 5% have exited. SBC Afrotech was founded with a mission to scout, skill, and scale the most disruptive African solutions for the biggest African challenges. We understand that your equity is valuable to you. And if you didn't have questions, then you would probably not be a good fit for our program. We operate with full transparency. And if you still have more questions, we'll be happy to discuss with you at any time. If you are chosen as one of the top 10 for the next cohort, then I look forward to welcoming you into a select group of extraordinary African founders who are truly changing the future for all of us.